pack of clubs that you use when you want to play golf, thinking that that was what the king would give to him. But guess what? Someone knocked on his door and gave him papers to title deed an already prepared 18-hole golf course, not the pack of clubs. That's a human king. Now imagine the King of Kings. Imagine what he could give to you. Imagine what he has planned for your life's assignment. It is not small. Your destiny is not small.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Funny thing, yeah, I met her at the VC office when we were going for our courtesy visit and NFSAM visit with Small Simi, Cherry, and Amaka. So we had the conversation about this event. That's over a month ago now, right? So she can't take the initiative. She told me everything. At first, I was scared. I was like, who wants to come and be giving people free money, stuff like that? But I believe there's love in sharing. So on that fact, I also be sharing my gifts with like 5 ladies here.
This is for the cash giveaway. Congratulations.
I mean, that's my difficulty. I lost my mom in 2009. I'm sorry to bring her. So we would want to support you, especially for registering, and we know how difficult it can be without parents. So please, you go to the back, to the registration desk, and meet Comfort. She will give you a certain special sheet for you. And that's also in relation to the other names that you will call now. So if you hear your name from now on, please go to the back. There's a special sheet for you where you fill in your bank details. Thank you.
Hope alive. Keep your hope alive. When you keep it alive, that hope will, propel you to do more, to go higher and higher.
You can never be too educated. You can never be too overdressed. You can never be too anything. As long as you are achieving your aim and then you're dreaming, keep achieving, keep excelling.
Beat the drums and sound the trumpets, because wherever 2 or 3 women are gathered, victory is assured.
Ambassador Erewa. Through a journey of self-discovery and a journey of faith in Jesus Christ, he armed her with his word, gave her his agenda, made her his ambassador. Ambassador Erewa.
There are opportunities for you to go into leadership, whether it's in civil society. We have established mentors on our platform as well in different areas who will take you on one-on-one for mentorship sessions, but that also depends on how you showcase what you can bring to the table. If you get to the table, would you have something to say? So it's about building you first and then offering of yourself to the world.
I'm really delighted to be here. So the Chairman CEO, Nigerian Diaspora Commission, Honorable Dr. Abike Dabiri-Erewa, sent her best wishes. She planned to attend this event, but unfortunately I think I saw her off to the airport about 2 days ago. She's in the UK as we speak now, attending to an official assignment. So I want to start by congratulating the founder of this laudable initiative, Ambassador Enola Cole.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm grateful.
I'm proud to have you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So you've done wonderfully well. Well in the sense of transiting from letting us have a feel of your personal experience and not even stopping there, then going further to say, oh, I can really empower Nigerian youth. Not only Nigerian youth, but Africa, because you are not stopping Nigeria, you are going to Africa and going to the world. How do we empower youth so that you can take over their future, their destiny? So I must congratulate you again for this laudable initiative. So when you are empowered, you are free. So this session is a major task in nation building, because Nigeria has a lot of challenges and government cannot solve all problems. No, we have to come to assist government in filling this gap, and that is what you are doing too. You may may not understand. You are doing governmental function, responsibility. It's not your duty to bring them here. It's not your duty to bring them, but you freely analyze the situation, interrogated the environment. So we have some gaps here. How do we fill this gap? Why waiting for the president or the governor to do this? So let me play my own little role, and that is what you are doing. So with them, we are creating numerous entrepreneurs. We are creating generation of problem solvers that will help us to solve a lot of problems confronting our nation, confronting Africa, so that we can all be free. So I thank you all for inviting my chairman to be the guest of honor here, and I wish you successful celebration. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. So shortly we'll be watching a video on leadership and civic engagement with NOA Director Special Duties, Mr. David Akoji.
To say it's essential will be an understatement. If we are going to have youths in leadership position who would compete favorably in the global context, then they must begin a process of internship, of learning, what leadership is all about. They must not wait until they get to positions before they begin to exhibit the traits that are expected of leaders. So I do believe that youth have a big role to play in the civic space. There have been some complaints about the shrinking civic space. As National Orientation Agency, we have had conversations with several groups of youths on this issue of shrinking civic space. It is one thing to engage and to participate. It's a different ballgame to know how to engage and participate in a manner that is productive, in a manner that does not deviate from the objectives that you have set, the goals, as purpose and expected outcome from the engagement. That is as youth now. What we have found out is that many of our youths do not know how to speak with decorum. They are combative, they are insultive, and they are disrespectful. Now, if your engagement is disrespectful, then it takes attention from your objective to the manner in which your message is being delivered, and that's diversionary. So I would urge our youth to study how to engage for productive outcomes. And if you want to engage for productive outcomes and you want attention focused on the issues and the objectives that you want to achieve, then you must have decorum. You must show respect, and you also must be willing to listen, because there are always two sides to the story.
That's so interesting. You said something that was really profound about how the civic space and the governance space are two totally different things.
They're not totally different.
Well, they're different.
Yes.
They're different. And here in Nigeria, we see a lot of those differences. Mm-hmm. It's like, in the civic space, we have a lot of advocacy and a lot of people who don't really know what's going on inside the seat of power. Mm-hmm. And then we have those who are in government who are actually making things work or making decisions that affect everybody. So one of the reasons why this mentorship program was brought together was to see how there could be some sort of synergy between the work that civil society is doing on the outside and the work that the government is doing on the inside.
Absolutely.
So as a senator who has served for over 22 years, what has it been like? What bills or what have you been able to pass? What change have you been able to make? And what would you say to someone who's on the civil society side of life about governance and what should be expected from public office holders?
Let me take that last question first, right? And so I think that they are related, but they're different, right? They're twins, right? They're Beijing, right? And so what they say is about Ibeji is that it's one person and two bodies, right? And so this is the same thing. It's one person and two bodies.
Right.
Both the people who are advocates
and the people in government both want the society to be better.
Right.
The tools that they have to use to make that better are different. And so people in civil society should be doing what we refer to in public policy as agenda setting. You should be setting the agenda. You should be telling elected officials, this is what's important. If we're talking about healthcare, what is the specific things about healthcare that we're interested in? Talking about education, what part of education are we talking about?
Right.
Right? We're talking about housing. Are we talking about housing for seniors? Are we talking about workforce housing? Are we talking about home ownership? What does housing look like? Right? And so the agenda should be being set by the advocates, right? And they should be, being in that process. And then obviously the people in government, have the levels of power. And so they have the ability to actually manifest the things that their community wants. And I think there should be a dialogue. Now, sometimes that dialogue is protest. Sometimes that dialogue is just a meeting.
Right.
Right? Sometimes that dialogue is a social media campaign about something. And so that advocacy. So I don't think that people should be down. Don't let the people in the government, don't let the people in the government dictate to you how your advocacy should manifest.
Right.
But also don't be limited to just say every time something happens, I'm going to protest.
True.
Right? And so conversations, sometimes just meeting with your elected official, your honorable, your distinguished person, or your governor will help you both understand what they can and cannot do, but also have them move in the way that you want them to move, right? The other thing too that I think is important, and this leads me into the second part, which is that organizing people in your community around voting is really important.
Yeah.
As elected officials, we are super sensitive to winning our elections, right? Yeah. In politics, there are two rules. Rule number one is get elected. Rule number two is don't forget rule number one. Right?
Amazing.
Right? And so you want to be in a space in which you have some say over that, right? Yeah. And so part of every advocacy operation should be around registering and organizing voters. And it doesn't matter what the party is, but making sure that if you control voters, then you would put yourself in a position to be able to negotiate, right, with elected officials and in your community, right? Power is a group dynamic, right? Sure. Power is a group dynamic, and that's one of the things we have to always remember. And so what makes me powerful is not because I'm Kevin Parker, or I sit in seats, because I represent 320,000 people in Brooklyn, right? And so when I go to the state capitol, which is Albany, New York, and I'm speaking to the governor or speaking to my other colleagues, they know I'm not speaking just for me, I'm speaking to 320,000 people, right? And so to the degree that you can be a person who controls 5,000, 10,000 people, it doesn't have to be that many, right? Yeah. Even 1,000 people is a lot of people, especially for an election. The most that you have, influence over those folks, and you can say, vote for this person or vote for that person, that's going to get your attention, right? And so that kind of organizing is important. And so in my journey as a senator, when I first got elected, the Democratic Party in the New York State Senate was in opposition. What you call the opposition, we call the minority. Yeah. Right? So there were less of us. And so our first order of business was taking over the Senate and winning more seats. And so the first move was really a political move, but more than it was legislative, because there was nothing we could do because we were in the minority. And so our voices weren't really being heard. Right? Yeah. And so we worked really hard, and it took us about 10 years to get it right. Right? Wow. Yeah. But again, persistence overcomes resistance. And we had a plan, and we kept at our plan, and we had setbacks. But again, a setback is nothing, but a setup for a comeback. Yeah. And so we were able to eventually prevail, and now I think we've been in the majority 5 or 6 years now, right? And so I went from being the ranking member, right, the opposition leader on the Energy and Telecommunications Committee, to now being the chairman of the Energy and Telecommunications Committee, right? And so through that time, we have done a lot of things in terms of securing rights for women, for instance, expanding voting rights to make sure that our constituency were able to access the franchise and actually cast their votes and do it safely and and easily. We did things like, we used to have like one day that we voted. I know they do that here. And we created what we call early vote. And so now people have a week to vote. Right?
That's really amazing.
Yeah, that was a game changer.
Yeah,
and increased the amount of votes that people are casting, right? So that work was really important. We've done a lot of work around, protecting, the environment, around creating a clean energy economy, right? I mean, we're all aware of climate change, and particularly in America, where we're one of we're not the biggest, we're probably in the top 3 biggest, violators of producers of methane and CO2. And so we really in New York have taken it seriously. We have the most kind of bold climate change goals, right? To be what we call net zero carbon creation by 2050, right? And so we're working towards net zero. And so that means both reducing the amount of carbon and methane we're creating, but also producing more clean energy, because you have to substitute, right, the coal and gas and other things that you're burning, for clean energy, like solar, wind, right, thermal, tidal power, hydroelectric power.
Was the fact that I suddenly realized that politicians were responsible for the quality of our lives. I was a student at the Dabiri-Erewa University in the 70s, from 1972 to 1977. And then I became a teacher in the same university from 1981. And what struck me was that my students were not having the kind of quality of education that I received in that same university. And that really, really bothered me. I thought that what normally should be the case would be that things would be getting better, that generations coming after me would have a better education,
better facilities, and so on. But that was not the case. Things were really just getting worse in terms of the facilities, the infrastructure of the university, even the quality of students. So, and then when that realization came, that look, a lot depends on politicians, because they have our resources in their hands. And what they do then is to allocate those resources according to their own, thinking or whatever. And I saw that they were not making a good job of it. And I thought that it was necessary for people who are decent, who have character, who have integrity, to go into politics. I felt that we were wrong in abandoning our politics, the conduct of our public affairs, in the hands of people whose character we could not vouch for, whose qualifications we could not vouch for in many instances. So that's a long answer to the question of how I decided to run for office.
Go for it. Go for it. I think that too many of us are maybe too scared of taking bold steps, because we think of what if I fail. And interestingly, what you learn from the process, from that journey, is so valuable that the end should not be only your consideration,
I wanted to run for office. You know, like when people see me and they said, you failed in your, you know, plan or vision or whatever. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know about failure. You know, I set out to do something. I did it. I don't know what to call failure. And I did it the best way I could. I ran a race that I was very, very, happy with. I had wonderful people around me. It was an experience of a lifetime. So I wouldn't have traded that for anything in the world.
That's amazing. And we look to see more development across local governments.
Exactly.
Which one was it that you were leading? Ikorodu,
Yes.
yes. Ikorodu local government area. Former chairman as well. I forgot to mention that as part of the pieces of his heart. Thank you so much for being here, sir. Now, on a final note, when it comes to young leaders who also want to get into power, how do they handle conflict? And if maybe you could share a personal experience that was challenging for you that arose in conflict, taking over power like you mentioned, how can they harness conflict resolution and negotiation skills to get what they want while maintaining a certain level of decorum around it? You must not be friends, definitely, but some decorum.
Yeah. You see, we don't have to be friends to work together.
Yes, sir.
But we can be friendly. Achieving the aim and objective of what we have there. Because if you look at it, if I'm contesting for a position, you are contesting for the same position. We are not enemies. If we are looking at the betterment of the immediate people in our environment, right, we can tap into each other. So what I want to say to young people is, it's not by fighting, it's not hooliganism, it's about negotiation, it's about selling yourself.
Right.
What is the selling point that I've got and the other party hasn't got? Yeah, it's about what experience have I been able to acquire? Is it personal or educated experiences that the other person hasn't got? And what are the things I've done in the past that can be referred to, which is feasible,
that you can leverage on?
That I can leverage on. So these are the kind of things you put on the table. Then, if need be, you go into a debate with your co-contestants. And again, if you are given the opportunity, let's assume you won. The other contestant is not your enemy. You need to look for a way to draw him closer,
right,
or her closer, because from him or her you can tap some of the knowledge that would be most beneficial to aid your own performance in the office.
Right.
So for instance, I'll tell you this. When I came in, like I said, I had a seat in local government that was contesting. It was an issue. He was hell-bent of going back. I was hell-bent of taking over the position from him. So it was no to both of us.
There was no meeting ground.
No. So eventually, God grant our own effort. So it wasn't friendly at all. I tried. It wasn't friendly. And I felt like, no, we can never be enemies. So one day, I was on my way to work. I saw him parked his car and the bonnet was opened. I saw a mechanic. So I told my driver, stop.
Yes.
So I got out of my car and he was shivering. And I said,
had you won by this time?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I was already in office. He was shivering and I said, no. Honorable Kumala, good afternoon, sir. Or good morning, sir. I said, yeah, good morning. At least we are talking.
Okay.
What happened? It's a minor issue, don't worry, you can go. I said, no. So we cannot be enemies. Look at my driver. Was the driver driving you?
Wow.
You employed him. Look at the police orderly. Was the one behind you. So, if I leave office tomorrow, they will follow whoever
Takes the office.
takes the office. They are not going to follow me home as they did not follow you home. Look at the vehicle. That was the vehicle you were using before. So, if you don't mind, my own car is coming behind. This is your
Take
driver
yours.
before.
Oh.
Leave the mechanic to do your car. I'll go into my own car. Let the driver take you to wherever you are going to. And he looked at me and he thought, I'm going with you to your office.
Oh.
It's about,
Did that settle the? Did that settle
we're
it?
very good friends today.
Oh, nice.
He comes to my house now. We talk if he's in any issue. If there is anything he wants to discuss, he comes to me. And I did not stop that way. Currently, he's in an office that I recommended him
Wow.
into that office. And
How it felt getting inaugurated? It was in March, right?
Yeah, no, April.
April. Okay. How did it feel? Right.
Thank you very much. Once again, my name is Temilola Akinade, the state chairman of National Rescue Movement Party and also the Inter-Party Advisory Council chairman, Lagos State. I emerged this office February 27, 2024, and by His grace, I happened to be the first primate. Then it was throughout this nation, but now we are two. From Lagos State, the first one.
Wow. How did that happen? Tell us.
Well, I want to say integrity matters most. And when you are in the midst of men, you have to be cautious of whatever you are doing. And there's something they always say, anything that has to do with our resources, we want they need to handle it. I give God the glory for letting me believe that you don't have to steal people's things before you can make it in life.
Right.
So they all believe that, in politics, money has to be involved. And whenever money is involved, they all Temi has to be our representative. So they,
Wow. Because they know that you
I
will.
would never
Wow.
touch a dime out of anybody's. I would never. So I think that was the thing that gave me an edge over others. And because of my friendship with them, I never believe somebody is an opposition party, we can do that during the election. But after election, we are all friends. I take everybody as my friend, I play with them. When it's the election, we go on our ways. After the election, we come back. So the relationship between us has been so cordial that they just believe that I can represent them very well. It was 5 contestants, and the aspirant then. Immediately I told them I want to contest. They were like, tell me you want to go. Immediately, that same spot, 3 people just like, I'm stepping down for you.
What?
I was like,
That's amazing.
So I think integrity matters.
Wow.
And,
Integrity matters most. Wow. So that means you must have built some strong networks along the line. When did you start your political career?
I started December 2015.
Wow.
9 years ago.
What influenced that decision?
Yes, in my community then I was living in Ogun State. There was this honorable wife, she was just passing in the rain. And a lady, a pregnant woman for that matter, stopped her like, Madam, please, can you give me a lift? She looked at her that, who are you to tell me to lift you? That thing got me so hungry that no, we need to change this mentality in our politicians.
Culture. Find time in your day, in your month. You can say it's 2 hours. I want to dedicate it to reading 3 books. I want to dedicate it to reading 5 books. Never stop reading. That's where you will get the best of ideas from. Thank you so much.
So that brought this rough called general. but one happens to be a very easy, you talk about this history.
So traditionally, rights of elderly and the sisters, as an adult, can be called upon to occupy any seat in the community. Being a king, you must have a what?
Download the free issue of the Beauty for Ashes Daily Devotional on YouTube at The Righteous Branch, or visit any of our outlets near you to grab a hard copy. Copyrighted by The Righteous Branch, 2025. Become a millionaire as a global distributor on Exporter Pro. Make mouth-watering commissions. Selling books by Ambassador Eniola. Get the book bundle including Faith in Action, The Chainbreaker, where you learn to break free from generational cycles. Leadership in Action, a mentorship guide for young change makers where you develop leadership skills, and Faith in Action, How I Became an Ambassador, which captures all you need to know about blending the spiritual with the natural world in your sphere of influence. Also included is a training manual that captures the art of sales. To guide your sales journey, visit www.exporterpro.org for more details.
Vote en masse for Donald Trump to be president for your life's benefit. The Lord is filled with wrath if you do not do this as a sign of repentance. And he told me that there will be peace if you make Trump president.
Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles even if they are launched from other sides of the world and even if they are launched from space.
So if the devil is saying anything against Nigeria, you are in the position to stand and say no. Push that devil back. I have 2 assignments to perform today. One is to get you to know this Jesus that loves you so much, and the other is to get you marked so that when he sees the blood, he will pass over you. Now lift the bread and give God thanks. Eat it. Now lift the cup and give God thanks. Drink it. Let's begin to pray. Know that what you have just done is you have placed the blood of Jesus Christ right inside your veins. Now let's begin to pray. We'll pray from Isaiah 60, and you personalize the scripture as we go along. I arise, I shine, for my light has come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon me.
Powered by the Holy Spirit, Ambassador Eniola. More up to date than your latest AI update.